Hi, my name is Kevin Tierney. I'm with MoreThanTheCurve.com, local news website for the Conshohocken, Plymouth Township, White Marsh Township, and West Conshohocken Borough area. Today, we are interviewing a candidate for District 1 Plymouth Council seat. Her name is Saleema Lovelace, and that's District 1, and she's joined by her campaign manager, Jonathan Harkins Sr. How you guys doing today?
Good afternoon. How are you? Good.
I'm good.
Good afternoon. I'm doing great.
So just give me an idea of your background, like your from the time you were born up until like your mid-20s, what you were doing, where you lived, your education, that kind of thing.
Okay. I was originally born in Philadelphia. I grew up in the Logan section of Philadelphia. I moved, I'm gonna say when I probably was in my early 20s, I moved to Mount Airy. I'm a mother of 3 children. I have a 24-year-old son, a 22-year-old daughter, and an 11-year-old daughter as well. So I kind of started all over. In my young growing up, I went to school. I attended college. I kind of bounced around in the beginning of my life because I was so unsure what I wanted to do. Really young, I started working at the Parking Authority. I'm gonna say about 24 years old. I'm not sure if you know what the Parking Authority is, Philadelphia Parking Authority. I was a parking enforcement officer. Backpedaling a little bit, at 18, I registered to vote. Really young. So, well, not young, but I registered to vote when I was 18. I started working for a gentleman by the name of John Street, who was actually running for mayor around that time when I registered to vote. So that was actually my first campaign that I was introduced to. From there, I worked on this campaign. I was introduced to the Philadelphia Parking Authority. So I started working at the Parking Authority as a Philadelphia parking enforcement officer. I was very involved in politics because I'm not sure if you know, the Parking Authority is political. So I didn't want to say that, but that job is very political. So I was introduced to a lot of people. So I've worked with people like, I'm not sure if you would know, God, I can't even think of this guy's name, but I just told you I'm not good at names. But anyway, so I worked there up until for like eight to 9 years. Left there. At that time, I was currently married. So I was living in a district of 181, which is North Philadelphia, and the state representative for that area was Curtis Thomas. So I took on a volunteer position in his district, volunteering, doing community service work, working with a lot of young girls, mentoring them. And then he picked me up and I worked in his office, became a legislative assistant. I was there for like 3.5 years doing community outreach. From there, I left. I went into voter registration in Philadelphia. I was working as a voter's clerk.
You just locked up a little bit. What'd you say about the voter's office?
There for about, I'm gonna say like maybe 6 months. I just.
Saleema, if you can hear us, you're breaking up.
Okay. I'm breaking up?
You're speeding up, slowing down. It's
Can you hear me?
I hear you fine.
Okay. So I don't know what part you missed off, but I said I worked in voter registration, Philadelphia Commissioner's Office, voter registration actually. And then from there, I've done a lot of different work. I was a mentor. Currently, I hold a position. It's kind of like a volunteer position at the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office. It's called Youth Aid Panel. I've been here for 6 years. We deal with children that are first-time offenders. And I currently sit on the board of the 39th District as a PDAC member. That is Police District Advisory Council. I've worked in the community. I own a company called Lovelace and Associates, which I've had just came about 5 years, where I do a lot of community work. not run business, but how should I say this? I consult with a lot of different companies. I'm a traveling notary as well, so I do a lot of notary work, and I'm just a all-around person that is dedicated to my community and just love working with people, and a mother as well.
Great. And then how'd you come to live in Plymouth Township?
I came to live in Plymouth Township. I worked with a candidate a few years ago. And when I came to Montgomery County, which was this particular area, I kind of liked it. I looked into the school district. I saw that Plymouth School District was one of the top school districts in Pennsylvania, White Marsh, Wissahickon. I recently went through a divorce. I was married for 10 years. And when I was going through my divorce, I said, hey, let me move somewhere my daughter and raise my daughter. So I found a spot. I came here. Around that time, I was actually running as a delegate for Joe Biden in the presidential election. So I'm also, was an elected delegate as well. And I got involved right away. I started working with a lot of the people in Norristown, doing food drives where I live at in Plymouth, doing book bag drives, just doing a whole bunch of different stuff, just trying to get myself involved.
Great. And then, so I know you've been doing a lot of door knocking. I see you on Facebook and social media. What are you finding are the biggest issues for that section of Plymouth Township?
Wow, I'm finding a lot of different issues. I don't even know where to start. Everybody has their own different views of things. A lot of people are not really into, I would say, the party. They don't like how the party is picking who they want to run for office. So a lot of people have a lot of issues with that. And then also, I'm hearing people talking about on Fairfield Road, they want stop signs. They're saying how the traffic there is not good. It's not safe. Then I'm also hearing some people say they want diversity. You know, the community needs something different outside of seeing the same people. So I got a lot of mixed feelings and just mixed information that people are, that they want. So everybody said something different. So that was pretty much what I got.
And when you say party, you're talking about the Democratic Party.
Yes.
You're running as a write-in candidate because you had some issues with your petition to get on the ballot.
Yes, I am a registered vote. I am a registered Democrat.
Correct. Can you take us kind of through, like, you decide to run? I think, it's a lot of people, you weren't the only one who was taken off the ballot locally.
Yeah.
So, like, when you decide to run, what do you have to do to get on the ballot? And what that process is like. Can you tell us that?
Sure. So, in order to get on the ballot, I had to circulate a petition. I needed 10 signatures to make the ballot. I got 17 signatures. 5 of those signatures were Republicans, and 2 of them were independent, and 1 was unconstitutional. So the Republicans that signed my petition, I think that because they voted for Biden in the general election, they assumed that they were Democrats. And the 2 independents, of course, they assumed that they were able to sign a petition, and then that particular person was that. So that's what knocked me off the ballot. That took me down to, I think, maybe about 4 or 5 signatures that were Democrats. So in the primary election, you have to have only registered Democrats sign your petition.
And the same street.
And that's what knocked me off the ballot.
And
yes.
So then you decided to run as a write-in.
Yeah. So then I continued to run as a write-in. I was getting a lot of support from the people in the community, and they said, hey, you should go out and you should still run. So then that's when I decided to just go ahead and run as a write-in candidate.
Did you seek the endorsement before you were knocked off with the petitions?
I believe the endorsement was already picked prior to me running.
And just so we know, her candidate is a guy named Josh Whitney, and he is a younger guy, and he is
Nicholas Whitney.
No, his name is
I'm
Nick.
sorry, I'm sickly.
No, you're fine.
Nicholas Whitney, and we asked him for an interview, and he has not responded as of yet, just so everybody knows. But he's the endorsed candidate as a Democrat for District 1 in Plymouth Township. And so what do you think overall in the township? Just living here for, how long have you actually lived here now?
I lived here just 3 years.
3 years. So what do you overall in the township beyond the borders of your district? What are the issues? I know like there's a big, concern about the mall right now and the redevelopment of that for some apartments. What are you seeing people talk about overall?
Overall, I just see that the community needs someone that's going to kind of pretty much be on their side, just not their side, but be open and kind of listen to what they have to say as well, and kind of listen to both things on both sides. I did read about the project that was going on over at the Plymouth Mall, an apartment complex. I myself personally, I'm not going to say I wasn't fine. Parking lot is already busy enough over there just with the mall being here itself. So I just can't imagine an apartment complex being built where a mall is, and where would you put it, and how would the parking be? I really haven't heard anyone mention that to me when I was door knocking. No one ever even mentioned that project at all. But myself, I would really want to look into that, because I can't even imagine how the mall would be over there. That area itself would be extremely busy.
We talked about like what people are saying to you, but like, why did you feel the desire to get into, seek public office?
Well, one, I have 20 years of experience in working in politics. And two, I didn't see a major need for the district, but during COVID, I was really hands-on in my complex where people were losing apartments. They had issues with food, money. I hosted a book bag drive here where a lot of my neighbors was really grateful, because when their kids were going back to school, even though everything was virtual, but just the thought of having someone that was giving away free things, giving away free food as well. So me personally, when I was reaching out to the council now, which is David Ganning, he never gotten back with me. Again, I reached out to the Congresswoman's office, never gotten back with me, just to find different resources to help people in the neighborhood. And because I'm already, connected with a lot of resources, I just use my own resources to help people get the things that they needed.
So do you feel like there's an issue of like within the local governments, like not being completely connected to the communities they serve?
Yeah, I would say that, because a lot of people, when we were knocking on the doors, people here were really surprised that someone actually knocked on their door that was running for office. They were surprised. They said, we never had anybody knock on our door and say that they're a candidate or they are interested in seeking office, and was willing to listen to what they had to say.
Yeah, I think that was the goal for the campaign, was to bring the election back to the people, right? Because what I realized is that with campaigns is that, they get the Democratic or the Republican nomination, and then they don't go out. They don't need the support, because most people go in and they hit that Democratic lever, or they hit the Republican lever, and not really know who their candidate was. When me and Saleema talked, it was, we need the people to know who I am. How do we get the people to know? And I said, we got to take it back to how it all started. we need to go knock on every door that's in the district and introduce yourself. Hey, I'm Saleema Lovelace, and I want to be your counsel. And just that is what we did. And I know a lot of people that does not even know from me knocking on the different doors than Saleema, that doesn't even know their council person, which for me was shocking because it's not a big district.
They didn't even know who the person was. And then another thing is they're interviewing me, and that's how I felt. You're interviewing me, you're hiring me to do a job, so I want to know what it is that you want from me, and how can we come together collectively as a community and work together. I did a meet and greet on Saturday down at the park, and this one lady came down with her 2 kids, and she just was, she wanted to know, as far as like community events, what will I do for us community? She talked about Double Dutch and all kinds of things, Cinco de Mayo. Like, these are the things that she was like, are you willing to do things like that? And I said, listen, whatever you want, I am willing to do whatever it is that you want to do. And I said, those are things that I have already been doing, but how I wasn't able to reach out the way that I'm able to reach out now is because I'm actually door knocking and introducing myself and inviting people out.
We went and looked at the 2017 primary, and in the Democrat primary, David Gannon got 149 votes.
Yeah.
So that was probably pretty high because it's coming right off of Trump taking office. So you probably need 80-ish votes to win, I would say. And then in a general, I thought Plymouth was more of a Democratic stronghold, but Gannon only beat the Republican challenger by 28 votes.
Yeah.
So that surprised me.
Mm-hmm.
So
it was very close. I saw that those numbers were very close.
Yeah. So I'm getting 100 people out to vote. I think will guarantee you, then write your name in, would guarantee you a win. I always tell people when they ask me, I'm known more in Concha than the Conshohocken area because that's like the main focus of our site. That we do cover Plymouth. Some places you only need, if you can't get 100 neighbors to go out and vote for you, you really don't deserve to win. Like that.
Absolutely.
So that would win most races in most communities in this area in a primary.
The goal for our campaign is definitely to do 250. We want to get people more engaged, right?
I'm not saying you shouldn't strive for more. I'm just saying
No,
what you need to win is probably 100, even less.
Yes.
Coming from the city and coming into the suburbs, like what is your Plymouth had some issues with this in the past. There was an article in the Inquirer a few years ago about the police making stops when they would say they smelled marijuana in a vehicle in front of them. And Plymouth actually recently, they didn't decriminalize. They lessened I'm not sure what the proper, they basically decriminalized small amounts of marijuana for public use. Like, how do you feel about issues like that, policing and marijuana, and how Plymouth has handled in the past and what you see going forward?
One of the things that I've noticed right off the bat with Plymouth police, there are no diversity. There is no people of color that sit on the board, anything. So that was my first issue. I had a run-in with Plymouth police. So there would need to be a conversation with the chief over there on, just some things that I've seen personally myself, and that I've heard myself on how the Plymouth police treat people, and I'm going to say people of color that have experienced things. And that's one of the reasons why I mentioned the Youth Aid Panel program, which is called PAD. They don't have that here in Plymouth, which is low-level crimes for far as like marijuana. If that's your first offense, there are programs and resources that you have to go, you go through instead of being locked up in charge for having a small amount of marijuana, or just say, for instance, if someone goes into the Family Dollar and steals something, these programs, the PAD and the the Youth Aid program are programs that people go through for 90 days to expunge their record. So that is something that I would love to bring to the township, because you can't just lock people up, for petty crimes. I don't think it's acceptable at all.
What was the you had mentioned when you first introduced yourself with the delegate to the convention, Democratic convention? What was that process? What did that mean? I actually found a video of you speaking. It was like a video kind of conference call across the nation type thing.
Mm-hmm.
What was that process? What was it? What did it mean to you? And how did you end up getting elected to do that?
So actually, you had to be selected by the party. So that was a whole process. I had to run for that position as well. I had to get 300. I got well over 250 signatures. I'm trying to think how the process kind of went. I had to run. I had to get my name out there. I had to go around introducing myself. So I ran in the 4th Congressional District, which was a big district. So I was from Pottstown to King of Prussia to Plymouth to Norristown, East Norton. And I just pretty much got myself out there. A delegate is the person that actually elects Joe Biden to be the nomination for the president. So there were, I don't know if you looked at the list, but there were like 13 of 18 of us. And I got over 82,000 votes. So that brought me to 7. So I was one of the top 7 that actually elected Biden and Pennsylvania to be nominated as the president. So I actually had to vote. I was one of the ones that voted for Biden to be president of the United States.
Cool. You post pretty regularly on social media, and you recently said something that caught my eye. You said that like there's people who are basically telling you that you shouldn't be running. And I'm curious, like, is that when you're knocking on a door? Is that coming from party officials? Is that coming from someone else? Like, who is doing that?
I haven't got any of that when I was knocking on the door. When I've been knocking on doors, I haven't had no negative energy at all. So I don't know if it's people from the party that's putting people up to say these things about me, and kind of like social media harass me, because that's what they're doing. But when we door knock, from Democrat to Republican, everything is positive. So those people that are saying those things to me on social media, I have no idea who they are, but I believe, to me, I would think that it's someone telling them to do this. That's my personal opinion. I don't want to name drop, but I had a conversation with an elected official on Friday, and this person told me that she does not think that I should run because I wasn't picked by the party. And I told her that's the issue. I'm not for the party. I'm for the people. And that's what the people want. The people don't want the party. They're tired of the party. They want fair people that's going to listen to them and, and see their ideas and work with them, not you dingling me along and having me do what it is that you want me to do.
Yeah, like my concern, my 2 cents, is, Conshohocken has, only one elected Republican, and he's leaving office. Plymouth has no elected Republicans. White Marsh has no elected Republicans. So the real choice comes in a Democratic primary, like the real opportunity for the discussion of issues, because the Republicans likely not going to win just because of the change of demographics and how people are voting now after Trump and that kind of thing. And we're not getting that. The party's not giving people an active primary process or encouraging an active primary party process to discuss those issues, because one of them is likely going to win.
Right. Say that again. I'm sorry, I lost that last part.
The Republicans likely not going to win in the local communities right now And
Right.
so the real kind of democratic process is taking place within the Democratic primary, and the
Right.
party's not encouraging that.
No,
So we're,
not
so
at
we're
all.
not, so we're not getting that.
No, not at all. That's why someone like myself is the right person to pick and to vote for. Again, I'm not for the party, I'm for the people, and I want to get to know the people. I walk around here all day. You know, I'm out and about. I talk to people. People invite me into their homes, you know, when we're out here canvassing, and just not even canvassing, just on a general day, you know, even in Rite Aid, you know, I met a young lady, the lady at the pharmacy, Miss Nancy, she knows my name, and she says, "Oh, Miss Lovelace, I couldn't wait for you to come back in here because you're running for office and we're so excited. We're rooting for you." And, you know, she mentioned that she was a Republican, so she wasn't able to vote for me in the primaries, but for energy that I want to give off to people. I'm not a politician. I'm a regular everyday person. I'm a mother. I'm a neighbor. You know, I'm that person that wants to be out in the community to help, not to figure out who's the who how much money the Democratic Party put up to get the person in office.
All right, well, thank you very much for being here today. Why don't you tell people where they can find you online? If you're having any events coming up, give all that kind of information.
Oh, yes. So my name is Saleema Lovelace. You can follow me on Facebook at Saleema Lovelace, and on Instagram it's Saleema Lovelace _731. On May the 15th, we are going to be riding around. We're going to get an ice cream truck. So we're going to be going through the neighborhood, giving out free ice cream cones. Any other upcoming events, I post a lot on Talking in Plymouth, so you can find me on there. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And thank you, Jonathan, too.
No problem. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
All right, have a good one.